Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about a massive mindset shift. We're going to transition you from being a reactive, hopeful presenter into a proactive, systematic master closer. If you've ever felt like you're giving these incredible pitches but just not getting the commitments you deserve, well, you're in the right place. Let's kick things off with a foundational definition from sales expert Mike Kaplan. Selling is simply the organized process of persuading or convincing someone to buy. It's not magic, and it's definitely not about being pushy. It's a structured, repeatable process. Here's our flight plan for today. We'll explore the presenter versus closer paradigm shift, map out the 8-step roadmap, dive into the S3 discovery method, navigate objections with some pretty magical words, and finally, lock in your path to closing. Starting off with Section 1, Presenter versus Master Closer, the paradigm shift. Let's challenge how you see your role for a second. In your meetings, are you just educating your prospects, or are you actively guiding them to a decision? A presenter basically just dumps information, right? They list off features and kind of cross their fingers, hoping for a sale. But a master closer, they direct the entire process. They have full control, and they systematically cause sales to happen. They don't leave anything to chance. Moving on to Section 2, the 8-step sales roadmap, structuring the sale. So if you want to be that master closer, you've got to know exactly how to structure the conversation. Mike Kaplan lays out this 8-step roadmap, and the brilliance here is that he starts with the end goal, the prospect actually owning the product, and works backwards. The real magic happens way down in steps 7 and 6. It is all about finding those hidden problems and making the prospect actively want them solved way before they care about your features. Which brings us to an absolute golden rule. You must sell the prospect on their own problem before you ever present your solution. Seriously, if they don't feel the weight and the urgency of their issue, your amazing solution is just useless noise to them. Section 3, the S3 discovery method, uncovering the real problem. Let's see how we actually uncover those problems using Ruth Farrington's S3 framework. It breaks down into 3 super actionable steps. First step, C. You've got to understand their invisible desires from their perspective, not yours. Second is solve. Gather the data and piece the strategy puzzle together right alongside the client. And third, satisfy, delivering that solution for a knockout positive experience. And the psychology anchoring this method is totally fascinating. People don't buy things, they buy feelings. You are literally diagnosing an emotional pain point, not just a logical business need. Logic might justify the purchase later, sure, but emotion is what drives the decision right now. Section 4, Navigating Objections with Magic Words, from Phil M. Jones. Okay, so even with perfect, empathetic discovery, you're going to hit resistance. Imagine you're in the middle of a killer pitch, things are going great, and out of nowhere, the prospect drops this classic stall. I'm really not sure I've got the time to fit this in right now. A typical presenter panics here. They start awkwardly arguing about how much time the product saves, but a master closer doesn't flinch. Instead of getting defensive or pushy, you pause, and you use these magic words from Phil M. Jones. What makes you say that? It is completely non-threatening. It drops the buyer's defenses and naturally invites the real objection to come out of hiding. And look what happens when you ask that. In our source case study, asking that exact question proved the prospect's hesitation had absolutely nothing to do with their schedule. It was actually a deep-seated fear about their team adopting the new workflow. By surfacing the actual truth, the seller could pivot, offer a pilot program, and completely save the deal. That linguistic trigger perfectly tees up Kaplan's structured objection formula. You question the objection, isolate it, set up the close, answer it, and then close. This proves that isolating resistance doesn't kill your momentum. It literally creates brand new opportunities for you to ask for the business. Which brings us to Section 5, your path to closing, asking for the business. Here's a trap so many presenters fall into at the finish line. Step 1 is closing on wanting the product. Step 2 is closing on the price. You absolutely cannot successfully negotiate price until you have fully closed the prospect on actually wanting the solution. If they don't want it yet, any price you throw out is going to seem way too high. So how do you know when they finally want it? Buying signals. A closing opportunity is literally just the moment a prospect gives you a signal, like asking, "Hey, how fast can we implement this?" Presenters miss these subtle cues all the time because they're too busy talking. But a master closer, They use the presentations strictly as a tool to generate, spot, and jump on those buying signals. If you map out your meetings chronologically like this, from a strong introduction, through qualifying, digging into those deep problems, presenting only the relevant solutions, handling objections, and finally closing, you completely transform your identity. You stop hoping for a sale to drop into your lap, and you start actively engineering it. I want to leave you with this to chew on. Internal resistance is just as real as external objections. The way you talk to yourself dictates exactly how you talk to your prospects. So what negative belief are you going to rewrite today to step out of that presenter trap and become a true master closer? Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer. Get out there and take control of your success.